Hello and welcome everyone. Today is 13th June and we are going to cover the Hindu newspaper analysis. Okay, so the topics today we are going to cover is the first is Air India crash that happened yesterday only. It's a very tragic news. We'll see. Second is the retail inflation data that has come up. Then the gender gap report, International Atomic Energy Agency censuring of Iran over development of nuclear weapons. And fifth is the temperature setting of the air conditioners. So here you can see we have divided the topics into prelims and mains. See, some topics are important from prelims point of view, some are important from the mains point of view. But there is no watertight compartmentalization. For example, if you see this topic, there can be certain data which can be used in the mains exam as well. Okay, so let's start. The first news for today is Air India flight that crashes in Ahmedabad. It's a very tragic incident. The flight crashed just after it took off from the Ahmedabad airport. All the passenger except one died in the crash. This is, very heart-wrenching incident. Not only the people in the flight, but also the medical students who were in their hostels, studying, sleeping, or whatever they were doing. Such incidents are very painful for the heart. Our condolences and prayers goes for the families of the deceased. May God give them the strength. Many possible reasons have been identified, but there is no surety as of now. First is somebody saying it can be because of the overweight. The flight was going from Ahmedabad to London. So it is expected that it had almost 1 lakh liter of fuel. Second is a bird might have hit the flight. Bird hit is also one of those. Third is that both the engines failed of the flight. There are 2 engines in the flight, but it is also highly unlikely. Okay, we'll come to know more about this when the investigation will happen. From prelims point of view, what news is important in this? It is International Civil Aviation Organization. International Civil Aviation Organization. It is a United Nations specialized agency formed in 1944 under the Chicago Convention. It basically regulates the civil aviation norms regarding the flights, regarding the standards and protocols to be followed. Its headquarters is in Montreal. India is a member, and from India, Director General of Civil Aviation coordinates with the ICAO. It is under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Okay, so let's move on to the next news. Yes, this is a good news for Indian economy. Retail inflation eases to 6-year low. Retail inflation eased to 75-month low of 2.8%. Downward falling food inflation as the data was recently released. See, how inflation is measured? It can be measured in 2 aspects. One is retail, one is wholesale. The retail inflation, which is targeted by RBI, it has been above the range of 4% from the last 3-4 years. As you can see from the graph. See, this is the 4% inflation, this is 6% inflation. From 2019 to 2024 almost, it never went below 4%. And for a major chunk of the time, it is above 6%. So, after long period of high inflation, a relief has come where the inflation is now going down, as you can see from this chart. This inflation, the retail inflation, it is measured by CPI, that is Consumer Price Index. What is the difference between retail and wholesale inflation? Retail inflation is basically if I as a consumer go and buy something. For example, if I go and buy onion, today the price is 10 rupees per kg. Next month it is 12. So inflation has gone by 20% from my perspective. This is retail inflation. But this is not the same with the wholesale market. In the wholesale market, may the price have increased by only 1 rupee or by half rupee. So that is measured from the wholesale point of view, WPI, wholesale price index. So what is the basic difference between these two, retail and wholesale? Why we have two index? Basically, earlier we had only WPI, but later CPI was developed. Let's see the differences between the two, CPI and WPI. Consumer Price Index, it is released by NSO under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And WPI is released by Office of Economic Advisor. These are very, basic information, but these are the information we are likely to mark wrong in the exam. So be very careful with such information. Second is the base year is the same, 2012, 2011, 12. Number of items in the basket of the CPI and WPI. Here 299 items and here 697 items. Now the one major difference that comes is the CPI measures the price change in goods and services both, but WPI measures price change in only goods. What is goods and services? Goods is anything you buy. Say for example, potato, pen, and services, what I'm doing right now. I'm not producing anything. I'm just teaching. I'm taking the analysis class. So I'm not producing anything. I'm just providing service. Under WPI, it was missing. Under CPI, it is there. Now, another major thing is the food items. As we know, the price of food items is very volatile. According to season, it varies. It is very volatile and it varies season to season. In CPI, the weightage of food items is 45.86%, while in WPI it is 24%. What does it mean? It simply means if there is increase in food prices, it is likely to increase the CPI also. So because of the consistent high food inflation, consumer price index was high for such a long period. Food inflation played a major role in this. So now as we see the food inflation is to 1.5%, and because of this the CPI has gone down. CPI is used by RBI to target inflation. Inflation targeting is the statutory duty performed by RBI. What is the target range of inflation? Yes, it is 4 plus minus 2%. That is 2 to 6%. So if inflation goes above 6%, RBI has to give explanation to the government. When consecutive 3 quarters, the inflation is above 6%. Here it happened. So there is an argument regarding if food items make such a big chunk, then don't you think that other items, if there is any change in the prices of those items, it does not make much sense. For example, if food inflation, say for example, when the rainy season will come, the next tomato prices will increase. It will have an impact on food prices, leading to CPI increase. So RBI has very limited role in controlling the food inflation. Why? Limited role. Food inflation. Why? Because food inflation is because of the supply side measures. RBI cannot do anything with the monsoon. RBI cannot do anything with the supply chain of trucks, for the pesticide, for the fertilizers, for the weedicides. RBI has very less control over these things. So there is one more type of inflation which is sometimes calculated, core inflation. This is nothing but CPI minus food and fuel inflation. This can also come in your exam. So these are the basic differences between these two kind of inflations. And if the question comes on the trend, if a question comes on the trend of inflation, what has been the trend of inflation? Consistently increasing, consistently falling from the past 5 years? There is no trend. There is no fixed trend. But yes, for majority of the chunk, the inflation was above 4%. This is it with the retail inflation data that came 2 days ago, yesterday only. So there's one more thing which is written here. Likely pose in rate cuts. Last week, RBI cut the repo rate by 50 basis point. 50 basis point. Why RBI cut the repo rate? What happened when the repo rate is cut? When repo rate is cut, it is dependent on inflation. Inflation is high. That means if RBI decreases the interest rate, what will happen? EMI of people go down. That is more money at hand. That is more money in hand, more inflation. So when the inflation was high, the interest rate were also high. But when we can see this falling of inflation, if inflation falls, RBI gets the window to decrease the interest rate. Interest rate here, repo rate goes down. What happens with repo rate going down? It simply means more money in the hands of people. That is leading to consumption. Second, borrowing becomes cheaper. That is, if I borrow from the bank to invest, it is cheaper for me. So there are chances of more investment, leading to revival of the economy. So these are the benefits of reduction of repo rate. So we saw retail inflation, difference between CPI, WPI, how inflation and interest rates are linked. What happens with repo rate when RBI decreases the repo rate? Okay. So let's move on to the next news. Yes. Another news, not a very good one. See, in this article, I have highlighted certain lines. So you need not read the entire article, just read the lines I have highlighted. This work is done by me for you. This is how things are being made easy for students. So what is this? India marks a relative drop in gender parity. Basically, this is a report named as Global Gender Gap Report, released by World Economic Forum. It has ranked India at 131 out of 148 countries with a parity score of 64.1%. Last year, India's rank was 129. In South Asia, India is ranked at lowest. Iceland, top by, followed by another Scandinavian country, one more Scandinavian country, then European countries and New Zealand. This is a shocking thing. Bangladesh emerged as the best performer in South Asia with rank 24. This can come as a statement in exam. So this global gender gap report, it measures parity across 4 key dimensions. What are the 4 dimensions? One is economic participation. Second is educational attainment. Third is health. Fourth is political. Health, education, political, and economic. As simple as that. You can write also health, education, economic, and political. That's it. So let's see how India performed on the various, these parameters. Labor force participation, basically the same. इसमें कोई ज़्यादा फर्क आया नहीं है. In education, India has improved. Basically, the female education, female literacy. But the aspect where India has performed poorly is political. See, female representation in parliament has fallen from 14.7 to 13.8. See, this data can be used in your main CS to answer. So there is no tight compartmentalization of things. Now the share in ministerial role also has fallen from 6.5 to 5.6. So these two data are important from the GS2 point of view. Now the question can come from this aspect in prelims and this can be used in mains. Now the last thing is Pakistan ranked at the bottom. That's not a shocker. Okay. So this is it from the news from the exam point of view. You need not read anything apart from this. Okay, so let's move on to the next news. Okay, this is an issue which we are going to discuss in detail. International Atomic Energy Agency Board, it censures Iran. Iran को censure किया किस लिए? For not complying with the nuclear obligation. Iran is under obligation to control and to limit, to stop developing nuclear facilities. But IAEA is saying Iran is not following it. What is this whole story about? Iran is not complying. Donald Trump has warned previously Israel or America could carry out airstrikes against nuclear facilities. Iran reacted immediately, saying, "We will establish new enrichment facilities in a secure location." Keeping in mind the political environment around us, we have no other choice. We will develop. Israel said we will strike, and Israel did the strike. So let's see what is. We'll see about IAEA later, but first understand what is the issue. This whole issue started from the differences between the two factions of Islam. Shia and Sunni. Iran is a Shia majority, while Saudi Arabia is a Sunni majority country. Before 1975, Iran had good relation with Israel. But in 1975, a fundamentalist government came in Iran, which was against Israel. Why? Because of the attack on Palestine. So after that, Iran started developing its nuclear facilities. US imposed sanctions. Sanctions. What are sanctions? Sanctions basically you impose, there can be economic sanctions. For example, US can put sanctions on Iran, meaning it can ask other countries or it can compel other countries to not purchase oil from Iran. So that is how you impact the economy of a country. US put sanctions for developing the nuclear facilities. But there was an issue with sanctions. Why? Europe, especially UK, France, they used to import oil and gas from Iran. So now with the sanctions, the import becomes costlier and difficult. So Iran nuclear deal was signed. It is known as JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, signed by P5+1. What is P5? The permanent 5 members of the United Nations. You can write their names in comment box. Okay, and there was +1. It was Germany. 2 things were decided. One was sanctions will be lifted. Second, Iran will stop developing nuclear weapons. It was signed in 2015. 2018, Trump Saab came. He withdrew. He said, Iran is not following. Iran not following. We are withdrawing from it and imposed sanctions. After that, Iran continued enrichment. So the recent conflict is regarding, again, US is saying, either you come to a nuclear deal or we will launch missile strikes on your nuclear sites. Same condition again came. So now let's see how situation will evolve. What is the impact on India? Basic impacts, if we see how the situation will evolve, we can look into more. If oil prices increase, India imports So imported inflation, risk for the economy. Second, strategically, see in this map, if you see, this is India, this is Pakistan, Gwadar port, this is Chabahar port in Iran. India is developing Chabahar port with Iran. It will provide a gateway to Afghanistan because Pakistan is not letting us go to Afghanistan through the territory of Pakistan for trade purposes. So this can get impacted. Then part to Central Asia. This is the Central Asia. This is INSTC, International North-South Transport Corridor. This came in prelims exam also, this 2025, yes, INSTC. If we get a way out of Iran, it can connect us to Central Asia. It can connect us to Russia. So strategically, economically, Iran is very important for us, providing, as we know how Pakistan is and the situation in Afghanistan. So Iran is a natural choice. Okay. And then if war happens between Israel and Iran, regional instability, and West Asia is very important for India. A big chunk of remittances come to India from this region. So this is the impact on India. I think we are very much clear with the overall history of how things happen between Iran, Israel, US. Okay. So now let's see briefly what is IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. It's an intergovernmental organization with 178 members. It was approved in 1956 and in force it came into 1957. The purpose, the aim of this is to promote safe, secure and peaceful use of nuclear science and non-proliferation. Non-proliferation basically of nuclear weapons. Its headquarters is in Vienna. Keep this thing in mind. This is not a specialized agency of UN. It is an intergovernmental organization, but it works within United Nations. It's an autonomous organization. So it is not a specialized agency. India is a member of the organization. So let's see how things will evolve. Things are, getting more and more war-like. This is Iran. There is Israel. There is US. And there is India, Pakistan. Recently happened. Then Russia, Ukraine. So this is a phase of uncertainty and instability. So the next news for today is, yes, science behind right AC temperature. Recently, Union Minister of Power said, we are going to set the temperature range of air conditioners between 20 to 28 degrees. It would apply to all household, hotels and cars everywhere. Why this thing is coming up? So recently from the last 3-4 days, we can say, for example, in Delhi, the temperatures are very high. High temperatures. The heat is getting unbearable. So we are running our ACs at 16 degree continuously. And what happened at 16 degree, 17 degree? See, this is what happens. Every 1 degree Celsius increase in air conditioning temperature leads to saving of 6% of electricity consumed. So, power saving. That is leading to economic saving. And also our power, 50% of the power we generate from coal. So environment friendly also. Not only from the point of view of coal, but also from the point of view of heat the AC generate. Okay. Now there is one more dimension which has been discussed in this. Several studies has done in New Zealand, United Kingdom, where they found that when people slept on more than 18 degrees Celsius temperature of AC, they breathed easier. The 18 to 21 degrees Celsius is not only comfortable but unhealthy. How? Leading to high blood pressure. So next is health impacts. Population can develop higher risk of hypertension, asthma, respiratory infection when exposed to living spaces under 18 degrees Celsius. So this is the benefits of regulating the temperature range of air conditioners. This study is done by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. Now this becomes important from our prelims point of view. All this data we have to use in our mains. This data, these arguments. But prelims में Bureau of Energy Efficiency, what is it? It is a statutory body. Statutory body meaning it is made under a law, Energy Conservation Act of 2001. See, here comes the catch. It is under Ministry of Power. We can have an impression that, okay, it can come under Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, right? But it is under Ministry of Power. The purpose of this body is to develop policy strategies for energy efficiency. So we see the 2-star, 3-star ACs, refrigerators in our homes. This is being done by Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So these were the important articles from today's newspaper. So you need not read anything apart from these articles in the things which are covered. Okay, so we are done for today. So we'll see you tomorrow. Good luck, best of luck.